Well, damn. Technical difficulties that start the show, but I think we got to figure it out that quick. Ain't no how Steppin with Marcus J is live. We about to get it in. I got special guests on the live line, and we're going to open up the show with some incendiary comments made by the owner of the Los Angeles Clippers, Donald Sterling. We got a lot to get into tonight. We got the Dating Pool Diva in the building to do the Diva Diaries. We got SY coming in here soon. She's going to be delayed, but we're going to have her tonight. We got a hot show for y'all tonight. And we might just say some crazy stuff to make y'all say, what the hell? Ain't no how Steppin Marcus J is right now, y'all. Yeah. It's about that time. It's about that time to get...
Button your lip, open your ears, strap on your thinking cap. Socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor and the top sports stories of the week. It's time for Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
Sellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago. Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. He hits one deep to right center. That ball is out of here. The Yankees win the pennant.
If they lying,
Then you must be half stepping.
ain't no half stepping with Marcus J is back once again for a live show. Y'all be down with us tonight. The live line is 804-402-2893. Be down with the flagship show of Legacy Internet Radio right here live from the den. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. We got a live one. We got a lot to get into, so we will not waste any time. First thing I want to do is get to my guest and my crew. I got some folks on the live line I'm going to come to in just a minute, but sitting in front of me, live from the den of Legacy Internet Radio, I got my sister, the Dating Pool Diva, is here with me. What's going on, girl?
That's right. I'm in the building.
She is in the building. How you doing?
I'm good. No complaints. What about you?
I'm doing just fabulous and whatnot. Everybody is listening for our sister SY. She is en route. She will be here. She's not with us just yet, but she'll be here very, very shortly. I want to introduce who I have on the live line. We're fortunate enough to have two old-time staples of the show that have been part of the crew forever. The first brother I know my entire life, and I'm glad to have him join me. This is the man that has always held us down with regards to the National Basketball Association on Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J on Clutch, the sports show for you. I got my brother Kata with me on the live line. What's up, bro?
Peace and blessings. What's good, everybody?
Well, we doing good,
Hey.
man. What's going on, man? You doing all right?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Trying to make sure that me and the missus don't get hit with no tornadoes down here.
Yeah, I know it's crazy down there in the ATL. Well, from what I understand about what we got to talk about tonight, I'm going to kind of get you fired up. You're going to be fired up tonight, ain't you?
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna be fired up, but I think some of my comments that I may make may fire some people up.
I will.
Fire 'em up.
Fire 'em up, man. We don't care. Hurt some feelings, hurt some feelings. If your feelings is hurt, you're listening to the wrong show. And, of course, you heard him at the top of the show, the former co-host of this show. We had him last week. We got him 2 weeks in a row. We got the host of Clutch, the sports show for you, my brother and my partner. I got Big Rube.
Yo,
Big Rube.
Hey, Rube, you've
What's
been a
up,
stranger
man?
to me.
What's up, man?
oh man, just chilling.
That's what it is, brother. You got the Dating Pool Diva here. She said you being a stranger, man.
Yeah, I ain't seen you forever.
I mean, just because you don't be there on Fridays.
Well, you don't be there at the Love Revolution. How about that?
I mean, I don't live in Richmond anymore. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know those two, boy. They're like oil and water. Got to pick
Oil
on
and
each other.
water.
Oil and water. Well, listen,
Crabs.
we're going to jump right into it because I don't want to waste any time. Donald Sterling, K-Dub, why don't you set it up for us, man? We know as the NBA analyst for Ain't No Half Step with Marcus J, as well as Clutch the Sports Show for you. You're well versed on what happened. Set it up for us, and we're gonna round table it. And of course, there's a lot of tentacles here.
Let's just go ahead and just give you the edited version. Basically, Donald Sterling's ex-girlfriend audio taped him making some incendiary comments in regards to black people and her association with those black people on social media and in the public. It was recorded, and I'm not really clear as far as how it was received or how it was given to TMZ, but this past Saturday, TMZ made it public, and it's just been a firestorm of comments. And, right now, Donald Sterling is under the fire. He's being held to the fire in regards to these particular comments. And today, 3 days later, we're still talking about it.
Big Rube, your initial thought on this, man?
Well, I guess we need to clarify a couple of things. One, first of all, the girlfriend of Donald Sterling, is half black, half Mexican, who he was speaking with at the time. And the another side of it that I read was the reason why these tapes came out, obviously, is because the wife is suing her for $1.8 million. She says she embezzled some money. So, what better way to get back at the wife by making her husband look like garbage?
Yeah,
And to me, I kind of find it sadly interesting that, yes, he is still married with children. Yes, he has a girlfriend or jump off or whatever you like to call it. But, this dude is beyond rich.
$1.9 billion was the number. 1.9 billion would it be is the number that I heard earlier today. Let me jump in. Let me jump in right here and just kind of give my opening statement on it, and then we can kind of round table it. I had an opportunity to sit back and listen to the comments. There were, from what I've been able to gather, it was a 1 hour conversation, and there's two clips. There's one that's about 15 minutes, and there's one that's about 9 minutes. The 15-minute clip encompasses the 9-minute clip, and in it, Donald Sterling, and there's some speculation as to the validity of the recording. It's him, y'all. A lot of people want to say, allegedly. Y'all can go ahead and say allegedly. I'll say allegedly to kind of pacify those legals out there. But at the end of the day, we know it's Donald Sterling on this tape here. And he basically says, you can go out with him, you can sleep with him, you can do what you want, but just don't bring him to my games. Basically, don't embarrass me by being seen in public on my watch with them. Now, K-Dub, I want you to kind of jump in here. Let me ask you this. What is your idea as to what the climate out there in Los Angeles is? I mean, we watched the game. We saw the Clippers come out yesterday with no energy. What do you know from your contacts about the climate of what it's like in Los Angeles?
Well, I was fortunate enough to talk to one person that does live in LA, and he kind of told me that it really isn't that much different as far as what we're listening to on the national platform. But he did make mention to an interview that Lisa Leslie did on one of the TV stations out there. And basically, she came from the perspective of that, the solidarity that they showed yesterday was good for that particular moment. It was a quick turnaround from going from hearing about these comments and then hitting the floor. But what she did say was that this basically shows a drastic comparison between players back in the day and players of today. She stated that, if the players from back in the day were in this particular situation, they would not have played. She also said that it would have been more of a statement in these individuals, and I personally think this as well, is that these individuals may have gone down in history as far as taking a social stand on a big platform. She made mention that, now some of the responsibility falls on the Clipper fans and individuals in Los Angeles, whereas you do not, if you want to really have something happen, is hit them in the pocket. You'll hear that a number of times today while we talk about it, hit them in the pocket, whereas do not attend tomorrow night's game, as well as all of those individuals that are that usually get season tickets, do not buy season tickets for the next year. He also made mention that what's wind up happening is that a number of people that are being interviewed, even though they have something to say, these are not the people that need to be talking.
Right.
These are people that, nobody wants to hear what, someone that is Donald Sterling's friend, no one wants to hear what they have to say.
Dating pool,
especially, and I know I may get a little flack with this, but, realistically, not too many Caucasian people would really need to be talking too much about this.
Diva, let's get you in on this one, Diva. What's your thoughts on the situation?
Well, me being the dating pool diva, of course, I have a relationship standpoint on this.
Oh, good
and
grief. I don't know how
I'm just tripping
the relationship to this one.
I can, because look at the relationship with the half black, half Mexican girl or whatever she is.
The girlfriend.
Yeah, the girlfriend. And he has these racist views against black people, Spanish people, everybody else, but white.
Right.
What kind of contradiction is that? Like, what is that about?
That's a good point that you bring up. And the reason why I say that's a good point, because if you listen to the tape, Rube, I want you to jump in here. At one point on the tapes, she points out to him, the girlfriend, Silviano, V. Stiviano, Ruben, she points out that she's black and Latina. And Sterling says that's fine because she can seem like a, quote, delicate white or delicate Latina girl, which, by what he's saying, delicate white or delicate Latina alludes to maybe him feeling that as a black woman that she's neither. She's not delicate. What can you think? What can you tell me about that angle, Ruben? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, my thoughts on it is pretty much, we need to be honest about this. And, this woman is a quote-unquote girlfriend, or in street terminology, she's considered a jump-off of some sort who has managed to hang around. He likes her. And, when he mentioned those features, obviously she must be nice to him and things of that such. So the stereotypical, I guess, what the world feels a stereotypical black woman is not that. He sees her as something else, not as stereotypical, closer to, I would say, the Caucasian women as possible. However, she does not look as such, clearly. But, it's in his mind, from what I gathered from listening to it and stuff like that, the thing is, you're my cake, and I get to eat the cake too. However, I don't want you, in public with everybody else with my cake. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Dub, jump in there, Dub. The Diva brings up.
Well, first of all, with the young lady, she's broken as well. What I would implore a lot of individuals to do is, at your leisure, Google David West, that plays for the Indiana Pacers, and he is basically broke down in the most eloquent way in regards to this. This is a broken individual because, if I'm not mistaken, a part of the interview, or I should say the call or the interaction between him and her, she says, "I wish I could change my skin as well." So that speaks to something totally, something else that you would need to examine in regards to where her mindset is and what it is that she's trying to get out of him. It's just the whole thing in regards to what he says speaks, and what he has done in dealing with this individual speaks more to that slave master mentality. I want to have the biggest and best bucks to go out there and make my money. I want to be able to play around with that buck's women, which is this black and Mexican individual, but I don't want nobody else. Anybody, she can do whatever she wants, but she can't do it in public because I want to control what she does. I want to, and it goes more so to that slave master mentality when she made mention to him saying, "You do understand that a majority of your team are black people," and he says, "I know that because I feed them, I give them clothes, and I give them houses." that speaks more toward his mentality and understand. And his mentality seems to me that he does not even know that you can't say stuff like that. You can't have that type of mentality. But again, it's that slave master mentality. There's a number of different things that he said in the past that speaks to that slave master mentality. If you give me a second, I can go into it. You had, he told Elgin Baylor, who actually had a lawsuit against him in regards to his discriminatory comments. He said that he wanted a white coach to coach his poor black kids. He also, at one particular time, there was an assistant coach that was on the Clippers that came down with cancer, and he wouldn't allow that individual to get cancer treatment using the team's policy. It took 3 players on that team to actually pay for that particular coach to get some type of treatment. And then you go toward the whole thing about the housing case that was settled. It was the largest settlement in a housing situation by landlords, and he made a comment stating that blacks and Hispanics would bring rodents and vermin to his housing facilities. I mean, this is the mentality that this individual has, and those are just 3 instances since 2006.
Well, let's jump. Let me jump in there, Dub, because I want you and Ruben, both you first, Dub, and then Ruben, to address the fact that the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP, they had bestowed upon this man a Lifetime Achievement Award in 2009 in the aftermath of the lawsuit filed against him by Elgin Baylor. And they were also set to do the same thing here recently, and thankfully they rescinded it. Now, I got thoughts on that. I'm gonna give my thoughts, and then I want you guys to interject. The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, to me is an irrelevant organization that's been irrelevant for years. It's an organization that was started by a bunch of white guys for the advancement of black guys, which, to me, the origin of it is somewhat suspect. They did some good things 100 years ago, but when you got a guy that has this kind of history that you bestow upon him a Lifetime Achievement Award because he took a couple of kids to a game in which he owns the building, and when you go back and you listen to the tapes, that's one of the reasons why they said they did this. That tells me that these people are bought and paid for. He wrote a big-ass check, and they decided, you know what, let's give him an award because he wrote a big-ass check. So, Dub, I want you in on that first. I want you to address my comment. Ruben, I want you to address right after that. Dub, make it quick, and then let Ruben jump in.
Paid for Negroes. If anybody was able to look at the press conference that they had this afternoon, one of the reporters asked the head of that particular chapter of the NAACP. That's one thing that I want to get across, that this is not the national NAACP. This is the Los Angeles chapter of the NAACP. When one of the reporters asked him what was the amount of the money, he never got into specifics. He never said anything. And basically, that just basically says that when you're able to cut a check, you are able to get a Lifetime Achievement Award regardless of your actual actions. If you cut the biggest check, you can get you an award. And I'll just let you know that that right there, that scenario is happening more times than you think that it's not happening.
Big Rope.
Wow. I mean, I'm about to piss a lot of people off, but I mean, real talk, is the NAACP even, legit anymore? I mean,
you ain't pissing me off.
I found it funny that this was the second Lifetime Achievement Award he was going to get. And then I read the article about Elgin Baylor, and I'm thinking to myself, hold on. So you gave the dude an award even though he was dogging Elgin Baylor. So realistically, do you even care about what you claim you stand for? And I would dare say they don't. No. And at least that functionality in Los Angeles, and to me, it's they took it back and stuff, but it's way too late for that. They gave it to him once already, and this dude's been doing this apparently for years. Yeah. This is not the first time this has ever come up that he has spoken like this.
Ruben, let me ask you this, Ruben.
I just want to say something real quick, Mark, is that for all of those that think that, when we say that the NAACP is not relevant, I would challenge you to do this. Tell me something within the last 10 years that has affected the black community in a negative way. Tell me what the NAACP stance and their action has been.
No, I
would give that as a challenge to anyone that states that the NAACP is still relevant nowadays.
Here's my thing. We can't be silent when these things come out. It's because of that silence that folks continue to wide out and become even more brazen about it. There was a time not that long ago that folks was fearful of these kinds of things coming out, no matter how powerful they were. Now they don't even care because we don't care. Gays care though, right? You remember, Ruben, you a Lakers fan. Remember Kobe got fined a big ass fine because he used a gay slur under his breath that got caught on camera. It was a big deal because that community makes it a big deal. We are buried under our own indifference and our lack of action. And every stride we ever made in this country had an economic component. And you can go back as far as slavery and you can see Lincoln freed the slaves because he wanted to cripple the South. The bus boycott worked because they stopped riding the buses. The Civil Rights Bill was signed because it was about integration so they can get the black dollar 9 years after the bus boycott. This ain't hard to figure out, y'all. The blueprint is there. Our problem is that we think everything is okay. We don't become complacent and indifferent, and we got to get over this so what mentality, because that's what empowers the people who are our enemies. So Ruben, I'm going to ask you a question. What do we do from here? How do we go from here? Are we going to just be, on the radio and in the communities talking about this kind of stuff, or do we see that this is an opportunity for there to be some sort of action where we can kind of move forward, or is this just going to be another situation where nothing happens?
Well, as far as, I don't know if you're speaking about us in general, but I mean, one, the fact is the first thing I do is you got to talk about it. And I think we're doing that right now. And because, like you said, a lot of people ignore stuff. A lot of people don't even talk about it. Therefore, stuff just happens. Had people talked about it, with the Elgin Baylor situation, we wouldn't be having this right now, and I think that's fair to say, or it wouldn't be such a surprise that it is, First you got to talk about it, and then you got to be about it. I read this article today that, Larry Johnson is talking about doing an all-black league. Now, I think that's kind of ignorant, but, I understand what he means. We have how many black owners in the NBA? One, and that's Jordan. Yeah. And I mean, really? I think and it was, and before Jordan became the owner, it was Bob Johnson. So it's one of those things where I feel like the next thing that needs to happen is, why are these we do have wealthy black people, wealthy African-American people, and I keep hearing, well, we give back. Why doesn't Oprah Winfrey own a team, and have somebody run it? Why not? I mean, it's just, the thing about it basically is a lot of people like to talk, but when people get the means to do, some people don't. Instead of giving a car or whatever on your show that you used to do every other week, you could have invested in something. Now, she invested in herself, and I'm cool with that, but why can't she invest in something else, such as a team of some sort, and then use that also to give back to the community? My thing is, it's great that you give back.
I agree.
disagree with you, Rube. I think what you said was a little unrealistic. But I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish your point. I'll go ahead and tell you what.
All right, hold on a second, fellas. Ruben, finish your point. I need to get the diva in, and then Dub, I want you to go after the diva. Go ahead, Ruben.
Okay. I understand what you're saying, Dub, that it may be quote unquote unrealistic, but a lot of dreams used to be unrealistic, and people made it happen. I'm not saying that the whole world should be all of that. I'm basically saying that, we sit here and we complain and stuff like that. Yet, when you get in a position to do something, what do? You go have a school in Africa, which is great. What about in America where you live? Why don't you have a school in America?
That was always that was always my point about her.
Maybe that's just me being whatever.
No.
But, it's one thing to talk about it and then do it. But then when you get the means to do something, what gets done? I don't disagree. And that's my question.
I don't disagree with that at all. That was always my question about Oprah. But there's more that can be said about the high level, prominent black, entertainers and athletes, There's a story that came out today that said that Michael Jordan had to be, prompted to make a statement about this as an owner, a black owner who has been silent, for 30 years while kids are dying in the streets to buy his sneakers. I have very little respect for somebody like that. And you mentioned, how we only got one other black owner. That one other black owner had to have his arm twisted to say anything. And the only other owner that said anything, as far as I know, is the owner of the San Antonio Spurs. Diva, jump in here. What you got?
I was just going to say one statement. You said before about, the gays, they pretty much step up when there's a problem or something going on.
Right.
Well, the difference between the gay community and the black community is that they're unified on a common struggle. They feel like they are put down by the rest of society. It's like us versus them.
Right.
Where in the black community, it's divided and it's us versus them according to who has the money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So those rich, affluent people don't even look at themselves as the same person who is poor, impoverished. That's the difference.
I agree with that.
If we get together unified in one common struggle, like the gay people, then we'll be doing something.
No, I agree with that. And the thing is, they followed our model. We used to be that way. We used to be the community that banded together and raised ourselves and raised our children together. And when I had a problem, we all had a problem. It's not like that anymore because, if K-Dub got a problem, that's his problem.
Right.
I'm not getting into that. He need to figure that out on his own. K-Dub, jump in real quick. I want you to address what you wanted to address that Ruben said. Then before you do that, hold up. What I want you to do is I want you to address what you wanted to address that Ruben said. But then after that, I want you to make it quick. But then after that, I want to come up with some sort of solutions because I want to move on. So go ahead.
All right, listen. All right, in regards to what Ruben said, how unrealistic or why wouldn't that particular, better yet, why would the comment of Larry Johnson saying an all-black league be ignorant? That would be something that, if using what you said, that's basically what you were saying in regards to Oprah. Okay, that's one. That's one, and I'm gonna make it quick with Oprah. If she buys a team, that's not going to change. That's not really going to change anything because you're going into this particular league that is still ran by individuals that don't look like us. In regards to what we can do, and realistically, it comes down to whether or not we want to make that financial sacrifice to do the things that's needed. I think I do have some instances of what the NBA can do in regards to sanctioning and getting, putting the hammer down on the owner.
Well, I'm glad you're going there because that's where I wanted to go next. So go ahead and pick up there because that's what I wanted to go. What are we going to do?
What are we going to do?
We
as individuals could do is not participate in going to the games and not buying their gear. But it comes down, that's mostly for the individuals out in Los Angeles. In regards to the NBA can do a number of different things. The NBA can take away draft picks. The NBA, I have an idea that how the NBA can actually take money from them, again, hitting them in the pockets. If Sterling make whatever money that he makes while he's still the owner of the team, it's demanded that he takes 25% of that and put it into a black community. Also, for the next 10 years, take away all their money away from the TV deal, as well as for 5, 7 years, 10 years, whatever like that, they get no TV, straight up, and take some draft picks away.
I also have a couple ideas that actually one of my friends told me earlier that he heard on Cal and Kyle heard today, which I believe the league could do, is basically make all his players free agents.
That could happen, and I'm not that far away from thinking that at the end of this particular season, and I'm getting this directly, and I'm going to give him his credit. Rashawn McLeod, former Atlanta Hawks, Philadelphia 76ers, Boston Celtics, he said that basically don't be surprised if you have a number of those individual players demanding trades this off season. They may play the rest of this particular playoff season out, but once the season is over with, do not be surprised if you see situations where Doc Rivers may resign, and you may have players such as a Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, and DeAndre Jordan request a trade.
I thought about that. I thought about that, but the only thing with that though is That's just like telling Donald Sterling you need to sell the team. You can tell him to sell the team all you want, but you can't make him. And you can say I want to trade all you want, but you can't make the team trade you. And so as long as you are under contract, you kind of stuck now. If this is your contract year, that's fine. But not.
However, because the situation as it is, if the NBA deems this what's it called, a horrible work environment, which technically it could be,
yeah, I think
they can basically void their contracts.
I think a lot of it has to do with what is written in the bylaws of the NBA contract with the individual players and what is written in the contract with the NBA and the owner. Because I'm not a lawyer and I don't know any of this stuff, so I can't really speculate on it. All I can kind of go off of is common sense, and my common sense tells me that if you're in a long-term deal, a la Blake Griffin or Chris Paul, you kind of asked out. But if you're somebody that's in your contract year now, you might be able to do something. Here's what I want to do, fellas, real quick. Here's what I want to do. I want to get a final statement on this particular incident because I want to move on to a couple other things that I want both of your opinions on that I want to get some quick hits on before we get out of the segment. So, Ruben, final statement from you, and then K-Dub, final statement from you on this issue.
I mean, if the NBA needed a bigger black eye, they just got it. It's sad, but the crazy part about it is we still would have never known unless this girlfriend had decided to do something for herself for whatever reason. You call it protection, you call it what you want. She recorded him on purpose and he talked about it with the intent to do something with. And it's sad that people still think this way. There is no room for it in the NBA. There's no room for this in society. And ultimately, the NBA is going to do what they can do. I see him eventually selling the team. They can't make him sell it, but he's going to be forced to do it. But the sad part about all this is that if people didn't think that it still exists, then everybody definitely knows now that racism still exists. And it's something we have to fight every day to get rid of.
K-Dub, final words on this statement. On this
one, I'm not expecting a whole lot to be done by the NBA. The stipulations that I made mention to a minute ago, those are extreme, but I don't really see the NBA doing that. It would be surprising to me, and I hope that it would happen, but I don't think anything's going to happen. In regards to what we are going to do, my old adage, and I know I'm going to ruffle some feathers. We ain't going to do nothing about it. We're going to talk about it right now. And, it's going to be a discussion. It's going to be a rally in front of the Staples Center tomorrow. We'll talk about it, and I guarantee by next Thursday, nothing is going to happen because, we can sit here and be upset with Donald Sterling making these particular comments, but we don't boycott or get upset about these images that come on TV. We don't boycott Clear Channel or Radio 1 in regards to what's being played on the radio. We're not going to do anything. And I can't. I don't want to steal your thunder in regards to it. But, right now, from a quote with Sean McLeod again, right now it's hot, but by next week we'll move on to something totally different and get irate over the next thing that's going to happen within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And if you remember, this is the same thing that I said in regards to Jordan Davis. This is the same thing that I said in regards to Trayvon Martin and a number of other issues that had to do with, black and white racial issues.
I agree with that. And the sad part about it is, when you and I, in the interest of full disclosure, Dub and I, we talk pretty much every couple of days, and we talked about this at length. And one of the things that I said to you when we were talking is that too often we sit around and we wait for these black leaders to come to our town and tell us what to do. What other community has a black leader? We've been talking about Al Sharpton a whole lot lately, about him being a government informant and all that kind of stuff. And you can have whatever your opinion is of Al Sharpton, but, someone like him shines light on a situation that would be dark in any other instance, and we know that there were other people involved in Gina and there were other people involved in Trayvon Martin, Sean Le'Veon Bell and Abner Louima and other cases. But the point I'm making is when someone like this comes to your town and puts the light on what's going on that's negative in your town, you can call him an ambulance chaser and talk about his head and all that mess. But at the end of the day, when he comes in and the light is now shined and Fox is there and MSNBC is there and CNN is there and everybody's there, what you going to do, local town? You're going to waste the moment. You're going to let the people who own the businesses benefit off of the hotels and the restaurants that the people came and spent money in when they came to march with Al Sharpton and whoever else. You're going to let that moment go away because ultimately these people are the ones that are shining light. But if you don't keep that light on, it's on you. So, and that same analogy for me applies to the athletes. And it was nice that y'all, took your jerseys and you turned them inside out and everything. Great. In my opinion, has evolved on this since yesterday, because yesterday I was like, y'all shouldn't even play. But now I disagree with that because I'm like, one, you under contract, you need to play. And two, not playing is not going to benefit anybody because you got 20,000 people that showed up in the Oracle Arena yesterday to see the game, and those people ain't got nothing to do with Donald Sterling. It's not their fault, one. And then two, if you don't play, you're going to be in breach of contract, and all this litigious man is going to do is sue you. And so there's got to be another way. Now, the people who can do something are the fans. I don't want to see nobody in the Staples Arena tomorrow. I mean nobody. All of those people that had those signs that in the Oracle yesterday, it was great when you saw the sign that says, I'm with my black friend, alluding to the comment that he made to her and Magic Johnson showing up. Okay, that was great. It looked nice and all that type stuff. But I don't want to see you in the stadium tomorrow. It needs to be like nobody there but the concession man in that building. And then the last thing that I'm going to say before we move on is Donald Sterling was the one that got caught. But I'd be curious to know how many other owners in the National Basketball Association, the National Hockey League, the National Football League, and Major League Baseball who feel the exact same way. Ain't no have Steppin, Marcus. Yeah, Big Rube, I want you on in this one first. We're going to change gears.